Hi, hello,
Hello there,
welcome.
Mario.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Everything okay?
You had another thing in your head now?
Yeah, I banged my head. So,
At least your eyes are not black.
I closed them.
Oh, okay. I think we are in 26. I'm not sure because I wasn't yesterday present.
Okay.
When do you come back?
Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Senor Harold,
Hey guys,
Hi, Harold.
where are we? 26 now?
let's see here.
Probably
Yeah,
25 at the
we're
bottom.
we're on 25. 25.
Oh, he
The
didn't do
Gemara?
anything yesterday?
We only did half. Only did half because we're on the Daf. Today's 25.
So is that the
25
Mishnah?
A or B?
25A, the very beginning.
Oh,
Oh, 25A?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to do 24 and 25.
No, he only did half yesterday because we're on the schedule. Today's the
Oh,
25th. Today's 25. He didn't want to go ahead.
oh, the same as the date, the 25th.
Oh, that's right. Perfect. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everybody.
good
Good
evening.
We are on Chafei. Chafei afilu molecharda. That is, we've talked about that if you have a earthenware kli, let's say it's packed full of small little mustard seeds, and you dangle a dead sheretz into the airspace of the earthenware kli, so all the food in there becomes tummy. And it has nothing to do with touching the walls of the kli, because those little mustard seeds that are in the middle, right, away from the wall, become tummy, not because it touches the wall, or let's say, first of all, food cannot be matame other food. Second of all, it's not the level of if the wall was a rishon, then the first seed next to it would be a sheni. Then you make a shlishi, which has no nafkamina except for trum and kodshim. And that doesn't make a difference because then you have seeds that are 10 or 100 away from the wall. There's nothing that proves that food inside an earthenware kli can become tummy. We learned yesterday that kli cheres does not become tummy through touching the external surface of it, only through the internal surface. But the Gemara wants to say it should become tamei through a kavachomer. Umal kola, all other kalim, like metal kalim, shetamin bavirin. If dangle a dead sheretz in the airspace of a metal kli, it doesn't become tamei. Yet mitamin migabond, but if you touch it, it becomes tamei. Kli cheresh mitamin maviro, an earthenware kli that does become tamei if you dangle in the airspace. It certainly should come if you touch it. Amar Kra, l'chol kli pasuach asher ein samid pilala. Any open kli that's in with a mace. Ezer kli shutumaso kademus lepischo. Which kli tummy through its Yomi is a kli cheres. The chiein samid pasir with a tummy. It's only if you're in a room with a dead body where there's too much oil, then if a key has no opening, has no cover on it, then everything inside of it is tummy. Hayesh tummy pasir lower. So if it's completely sealed, the more kli will not be made just being touched. Ask the more of you, kola kelim mitar maviran mekava chomer. The Gemara may ask the opposite question. All other kelim, like metal kelim, should become tummy through air. Umakli tummy megabo. An earthenware kli does not acquire tuma through touch. Mitami maviro. Yet it gets tuma through its internal space. Kol kelim shemitami megab, and other kelim that do acquire tuma if you touch the side. Einodin shemitami maviro. Amrakra tocho. Tocho shel zevelo tocho shalach. We make a drasha. Only the tocho of cheres is mitami tuma that's dangled there, but not other kelim. Frankly, more bani tocho hadarshina. But there's other dinim that have been learned from the word tocho. So the word says arba tocho. It says tocho twice. Tocho toch, tocho toch. Chad legufe. That food inside a kli cheres becomes tummy. If the kli becomes tummy. Chad legzer shava. That a kli cheres can become tummy without anything touching it, just being dangled in the airspace. You need one tocho to say only a kli cheres becomes tummy through its airspace, but not other kelim. Let's say you had another little container inside a kli cheres, which is sealed. That does not become. So a tocho protects. Afilu kli shetev. Other kelim like metal kelim that are not kli cheres should not become tummy through touch. Elami toichon of v'negia, just through air space on the inside, or if it's touched on the inside but not on the outside. Mikava chomer. Uma kli cheres shemetame me'aviro. A kli cheres is tame through tuma that's hung in the airspace. If you touch the outside of it, it does not become tummy. So kol kelim she'ein metamin ma'aviran. Other kelim do not acquire tuma through the mechanism of airspace. Einodin she'ein metamin megavim. They should have no tuma. Amar kra b'chol kli pasuach asher ein samid pasir alav tamehu. It's only a kli cheres hayhu dechi ein samid pasir alav tameh. That doesn't have a cover, the inside becomes tameh. Hayesh samid pasir alav tor. But if it has a cover, it remains tor. Hakola kelim, but other kelim non kli cheres bein sheyesh samid pasir alav bein she'ein samid pasir alav mitamin. They become tameh whether there's a cover, whether there's no cover, because they become tameh through touch on the outside. So the Gemara has its raya. Mishnah. Tar b'chliates, that which a wooden kli is tor, the same circumstances will tame b'chli matchos, will cause a metal kli to become tame. Tor b'chli matchos, that which is tor by a metal kli, will be tame b'chliates. And the Baraisa will explain this statement. Ton Rabbana. Gol me kliates metamin. You have wooden kelim, but it's like a goylem. It's not finished. They're still kelim, and they're makabel tuma, pshuteim toharim. But if you have like a flat piece of wooden, which is a kli, which doesn't have a receptacle, doesn't have any hollow out that you can put something in there, That's called pshute kli eitz, and it remains tohar. Vice versa, golme kli matcho is toharin. Metal kelim that are not finished are tohar. But pshuteim, a flat metal kli, is tummy. Comes out nimsa tor b'kli eitz, that which is torn by a wooden kli is tummy b'kli matchois, is tummy by metal. That which is torn b'kli matchois is tummy b'kli eitz. And what are the examples? Elohein golme kli eitz. A kol she'osid lashuv, you're going to polish the wooden kli that's not finished. Or l'shabitz, you're going to stud it with nails. L'garer, you're going to plane it. L'karkev, you're going to put a band around it. Latiach betunis, you're going to smooth it. Mechusar kain, let's say it's lacking a base, or ogain, or a rim, or ozen, or a handle. All of these kalim, even though they're unfinished, they're tummy. Now, mechusar chatita tor. If it's just a flat piece of wood without a hollowing out, that, so the Gemara says mechusar chatita pshita. I mean, that if it's you can't use it for anything. Lo tzricha d'chak kviz b'kaba. No, there's enough to put 3/4 of a kav in there. So that's the shear. If it's flatter than that, then it would be a pshute kli eitz, it would be tor. Ve'elohein golme kli matchois. These are examples of unfinished metal kelim, which we said are tohar. Kol she'ot osid lashuv. You're going to file it. L'shabetz, you're going to stud it. L'gara, you're going to plane it. L'charker, you're going to engrave it. L'hakish bekurnis, you're going to hit it with a hammer because it's got dents. L'chusar kain, it's missing a stand or a base or ogen or a rim or ozen or a handle. In all these cases, these metal kelim that are unfinished are tohar. M'chusar kisei tomi. If it's a kli, but it's just missing its lid, so that's fine. You can cook with a kli without a cover. Now, why is it that wooden kelim that are unfinished are considered like they're finished, and therefore they're makabel tuma, and by metal it's not, right? Maish nahani, maish nahani. Rabbi Yochanan holu chavod asuyim. You make a kli out of metal that was for some type of kavod, like you have some VIPs coming over. So they have to look perfect. If they don't look perfect, they're not finished. They need decoration because they're expensive. And therefore, it doesn't really have a shame kli unless it has it. What's the difference between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Nachman? Ikminayu kli etzem. Bone, keli made out of bone. They were expensive, but it wasn't used for kavod. So since Rav Yochanan held it has to do with wood, and a metal kli is expensive, but without kavod. As Rav Yochanan tamei, Dom Rav Nachman kli etzem kli matchois domu. He held that kelim made out of bones are like metal kelim, and we're both are not makabel tum unless they're completely finished. Michlad kli etzem makabel tuma. So that seems to suggest that kelim made out of bones can be makabel tuma. Is that correct? In the Gemara says, yeah, Titania. Rabbi Shmuel ben Rav Yochanan ben Oimer. Ma tamad lomer chomaseh izim tischatau. If it's made from goats, you have to put it in the mikveh. Lavi davar abba min ha'izim. So things made from goats, min ha'karnayim, from the horns, min ha'tlafayim, the hoofs, and similar the bones. Shar be'em v'chai minayin. Came from animals besides goats. Tamad lomer v'chol maaseh. Anything. In kemat tamad lomer izim prat lo oifos. So birds are not, if you make a kli out of a part of a bird, so that's not makabel tumas, and it's also like a fish too. Now, we're going to deal now with trumas and maisras. and it's a fruit that is completely mature, is chayiv you have to give truas and maestros. This Mishnah is going to talk about almonds. One is bitter, and the bigger it gets more bitter. And the other ones are sweet, where it becomes sweet as it gets bigger. So, achayiv b'shkedim amorim, when you have to give trumas and maestros from the bitter almonds, potter b'metukim. You don't have to do it because only the small ones, for the bitter ones, are edible. The small ones by the sweet ones are not edible. So again, it's these Mishnahs are giving us these vice versa dinim. That which is chayiv by the morim are potter b'metukim, and vice versa. Chayiv b'metukim is potter b'morim. Ton rabbanan. Shkedim amorim, bitter almonds. Tanim can be eaten, so therefore they're chayiv. Gedolim p'turim because they're very bitter. Now, the brand of almonds that are metukin, sweet ones, those are good when they're gedolim. Gedolim chayav. Tanim p'turim. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yisrael Mishum Aviv Zev Zeh Liptor. Both the sweet ones and the bitter ones, you don't have to give trumas and maestros. Or the small ones, that there's no small one that is mature enough that you would give meiser. And he might hold that the big bitter ones are also, but the big sweet ones would be chayiv. Some say that both of the large ones are going to be chayiv and not the small ones. Rabbi Lo. However, Rab Chanina b'tzipoiri, Rab Chanina paskind kedivra omer zev zeh liptur, like Rabbi Shmuel, who said that the two small ones are potter, that all the small almonds are potter. Ulman omer zev zeh lechiyuv gidol l'may chazu. What are the bitter large almonds for? If they're bitter, you can't eat them. So why would you give meiser? It's not worth anything. Or you can warm them up or roast fire, and then they become sweet. Then you can eat them. So since it becomes an edible food, you have to give trumas and maestros from it. Hatemed ad shlo hechmitz. So if you soak grapes in water, so that's temed. It's mead. Now, if it hasn't fermented, a nikich bekesef meiser. So meiser sheni, that you transferred the kedusha to money, and you're bringing the money to Yerushalayim. So you only can buy certain foods that can sort of acquire the kedusha. Wine is made from grapes, which comes from the ground, but not water. So temed is basically considered water, so you can't buy it with meiser sheni money. And poisos a mikvah. Now, a mikvah has to have 40 saw of rainwater. If you carried even 3 lug of water and dumped it in the mikveh, it puzzles it. If there's less than 40 saw. So this is considered water. And therefore it will contaminate the mikveh if you carried it.
Hello?
Susie, somebody was ringing the doorbell. What is it?
No, I know.
Oh.
It's-
Okay. Now, mishehechmitz, once the wine has fermented, then it's like wine. And therefore, nikav because of meiser, you can purchase it with meiser sheni money. And it's not considered water to passel the mikveh if there's less than 40 saw. Okay. Let's say father died, 2 brothers inherited his estate, and there's a din that you have to give a machzis a shekel every year. Now, partners if you're paying for like somebody else, alboin. So a father that pays 1 shekel for the 2 sons doesn't have to give any kalboin. Number 2, if they're partners, they'd be chay, but the father's not alive anymore. So they're viewed as partners, and then they would have to give the kalboin. But one of the benefits of being partners is only somebody who owns an animal by himself has to give meiser behema, where you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the 10th animal is meiser. If you're partners, you're potter. So that which makes you chayiv for the kalbon makes you potter for the meiser behema. Vice versa. Kishachayavim b'meiser behema, and then they're viewed as individuals, p'turim and kalbon. Then they don't have to give the kalbon. Like we said, if the father gives it on behalf of the 2 brothers, they would be potter from the kalbon. Mani masnisin lo rabbi Yudav lo rabba. The time. Hametame, if you make mead, v'nosan mayim b'mida, you pour a certain amount of water onto the grapes, umatza k'dei midaso, and you find after you went through this process that you got the same amount of water that you poured, potter, then you don't have to give trumas and maisers from it because it's all water. Nothing from the grape came into it. However, Yehuda Mechayev, the water, it doesn't get absorbed by the grapes, and then it puts out its new fluid. So the volume might be equal, but it's not water, it's wine. So that's the 2 shitas. The question, who is our Mishnah? Mani. I Rabbanon. So Afagav de Hechmitz. So if you added 1 liter, and now you only have 1 liter, doesn't make a difference if it became fermented. It should still just be water. And Rabbi Yehuda Afagav de lo Hechmitz. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't require fermentation for it to be categorized as wine. As long as it got absorbed by the grapes and it spit out a new thing, doesn't make a difference whether it's fermented or not. So this will be a machloikes which we'll go into tomorrow. So tomorrow we will learn at the daf at 7:00, and we'll do the tzurba at 8:00. Continue.